Welcome to a noob's guide to Astragoth Ironhand. This is Astragoth, a High Priest of Hashut, and a Chaos Dwarf so ancient that he needs a custom-made mech suit just to get around. But don't let his old age fool you. This foul-tempered old dwarf doesn't just yell at the kids playing on his lawn, he power punts them off it. Astragoth Ironhand is part of the Forge of the Chaos Dwarfs DLC, and in this video you'll discover his lore and how that's been translated to gameplay in Total War Warhammer 3. But with so many new mechanics introduced with the Chaos Dwarfs, we'll focus on what Astragoth specializes in, the Tower of Zarnagrund and the epically horny Bull Centaurs. Chaos Dwarfs have no centralized government. Instead, their society is run by a cabal of the most powerful High Priests of Hashut, a minor chaos god of fire, greed, and tyranny, whose religion is based on the usual stuff. Blood sacrifice, ancient magic, and, engineering, that when combined together produce nightmare versions of popular children's programming. The Chaos Dwarf Priest Sorcerers are the ones who used their fire magic to summon the long, hard, black obsidian towers that they like to sit atop, and these priests can be distinguished from the common folk by their absurdly tall hats, neither of which are compensating for something. Already rare with only a few hundred laypeople, Astragoth keeps their ranks even more exclusive by flaying any incompetent acolytes and wearing their skins as a cloak. He feels it's a fair warning, and also it keeps his lap warm. But eventually the survivors of this atrocious apprenticeship become full sorcerer prophets, the most elite of whom meet together in the Temple of Hashut, built at the tippity top of their tallest building, the Tower of Zarnagrund. From here, this conclave controls every aspect of Chaos Dwarf society with absolute authority, from what beard styles will be allowed this year to where their armies will be sent next to dominate. Again though, there's no leader or formal leaders of the Chaos Dwarfs. Everyone is equal in Hashut's eyes. It's just that the sorcerers control the magic, and they're also priests, so anyone who questions whether or not they're in charge is sacrificed to Hashut. The sorcerers have no hierarchy amongst themselves either. I mean, they're all fell brothers in chaos. Dwarfs naturally defer to the oldest among them though, and Astragoth is the oldest living High Priest of Hashut, so it's only right to respect the wisdom and influence he's accumulated, that he could easily use to squash them and their newfangled ideas. I mean, that's how Drazoeth the Ashen found himself banished to a molten hellscape on the ass end of nowhere. No, sorry, the other one. So to reiterate, all Chaos Dwarfs sit at the same round table as equals. It's just that Astragoth is the one with an iron hand on the bull god's lap and a thumb in every pie. And that's exactly where Astragoth will stay until he kicks the bucket. Or at least his mech does. This bit of Boston Dynamics technology is a direct result of Astragoth's rise to the top of the tower. As a younger dwarf, he was hailed as the most powerful Chaos Dwarf sorcerer for 1,000 years. But everyone knows it's a long way to the top if you want to rock and roll. When you're the best, your elders either challenge you to prove it, or put challenges in your path to stop you from improving further. Chaos Dwarf society is a totalitarian theocracy though, so Astragoth couldn't exactly walk into their rooms and bury them in liquid hot magma, although he totally could, he has the magic to do that. Instead, the High Priests have to resort to something even more terrifying to get their way: politics. The Tower of Zarnagrund mechanic visualizes this race to the top in-game with a series of seats and council positions that your chosen lord can hold. These are gained by expending the conclave influence points you gain through conquest and construction. More powerful council seats require more conclave influence to attain, and each seat gives you a range of relevant benefits and kickbacks. Once you reach the top of the pile, you can even use your power to forcibly confederate the other Chaos Dwarf factions, including the capital city of Zarnagrund itself, which is held by the AI on turn 1, just like how the Senate held Rome back in Rome Total War. If there's one dwarf that could cross the Rubicon and take it though, it's Astragoth, mainly because he's the only one tall enough not to drown. You rise to the top by chairing committees and dominating specialized political fields. Hold every seat on a council and you'll get an added bonus. And if there's a council seat that you want that's already occupied, you can use that extra bit of influence to kick that person right out. Want to be a warhawk who supports the military complex district? How about putting profits before human decency in the industry district? You can even sacrifice thousands of children to your dark god to gain extended life and terrifying magical powers in the sorcery district. Also, you can relive the thrill of modern politics, but now with 50% more tall hats. Still, in-game, Astragoth is a force to contend with, able to wield spells from the lore of fire and the lore of Hashut to ensure his enemies are weakened to blazing attacks before he rains down the unholy hellfire. Though this lifetime pursuit of power and politics for Hashut's glory did come with a price. Unlike the other races in Warhammer, dwarfs weren't meant to wield the sorcerous energies of the winds of magic. I mean, they can still do it, but they develop a unique allergic reaction, the Curse of Stone. Chaos Dwarfs who start flinging around spells willy-nilly find themselves slowly turning to stone from the feet up. Every Chaos Dwarf sorcerer will inevitably transform into an immobile stone statue, which are then used to decorate the road to Tsar Nagrund on the cheap. What, just because you pollute and pillage the world doesn't mean you can't recycle. After 400 years spent rock hard and ready to roll, Astragoth's doctor told him to lay off Hashut's magical blue pills if he wanted to stay mobile. Determined to prove that petrification wasn't the only way a dwarf his age could keep it up, Astragoth constructed a mechanical device to transport himself around town. His first attempt looked like something Barbra Streisand's ex-husband would dream up, so in his second go, he grafted a powerful, steam-driven exoskeleton directly to his body. It combines all the skills of the best laborers that money didn't buy with all the dark magic harnessed by sacrificing those same laborers to make sure nobody would ever build a suit half as sweet. He can leap higher, run faster, and travel further than normal stunty dwarf legs would allow, adopting a tried and tested gait based on the standard of villainous locomotion. But the real trick of this demented Inspector Gadget is that he can punch holes through people with his robot power fists. Murder itself seems to drive the fire demons bound to his metal body. They provide the heat to make his steam, and the more it kills, the more it can kill, increasing the weapon damage and melee attack of Astragoth every time you put the clamps on someone. So don't be afraid to run Astragoth right in and punch something. He's a hybrid lord meant for melee and magic after all. If for some reason Astragoth's enemies still don't get the point, being the High Priest of the Old Ways has another perk, an army of overzealous bull dwarf centaurs ready to serve his every whim. Since the time the Chaos Dwarfs first made their pact with Hashut, a handful every generation are born blessed with the true form of Hashut. Usually these births kill the mothers because, that thing ain't coming out easy. Which is probably for the best, as these abominations are immediately taken at birth and raised by sorcerer prophets. Astragoth and his kin use their dark arts to further mutate them, fusing demon-empowered armor to their bodies to encase them in diabolic iron. This magical tampering means that over time, a bull centaur's flesh hardens to a consistency of living metal, which requires regular oiling and the occasional power wash, as well as someone versed in the arcane art of TIG welding if they're injured, a service which of course only the priests can provide. And you thought the terms of services of a cable contract were bad. As a literal architect of evil, Astragoth has unique skills specifically to reduce their upkeep and increase their armor-penetrating hits, even adding a ward save to all the bull centaur renders in his army, reducing all their incoming damage. Which is good, because once you get used to having an army of hulking bullmen around, you're gonna want more of them. Bull centaur renders serve as vicious shock troops on the battlefield, allowing you to field a highly mobile dwarf army with monstrous cavalry on its wings. Astragoth and the other sorcerers trust the bull centaurs implicitly to get whatever job needs doing done. Not least because they divert a steady stream of sacrifices down to their stables for whenever a bull centaur gets the munchies.
Give it to us, raw and wriggling.
Though they do have one notable weakness. he's going to be there for a while. You can expand the number of Bull Centaur renders you can recruit through the Hellforge mechanic. There, you'll spend your armament resources to raise their unit cap, and fuel their special abilities by fusing even more weaponry to their skins. So long as you can keep the spice flowing, you'll have an army of Bull steroid-infused centaurs at your beck and call. Astragoth has led a long life at the top, and nearly none of it's been written down, so make your own story for the oldest living Chaos Dwarf, and put his power armor to use. Astragoth can pummel, crush, and even pulverize if the mood strikes you, or maybe show the world the awesomeness of Hashut, converting them to true believers in this minor Chaos God's power, right before their skin melts off. Because this has been a noob's guide to Astragoth Ironhand, High Priest of Hashut.